The prairie awakens in fire and thunder. At dawn, the roar of longhorns rolls across the horizon like a storm, while hundreds of russet bodies surge forward, horns carving arcs of steel against the morning sky. It is more than a spectacle of nature. It is a living heritage. Welcome to AgriWorks USA, where we take you inside the world's most extraordinary farms and food industries. Today, we journey into the realm of longhorn cattle, an animal that is as much a symbol as it is a source of survival. From sacred African rituals to the legendary cattle drives of the American West, the longhorn has shaped cultures, sustained economies, and carved its place at the center of global agriculture. Behind the thundering herds lies an industry of staggering scale: ranching, slaughterhouses, logistics, and markets worth billions. So join us as we uncover the full story of the longhorn, icon of resilience, trade, and tradition. And if you love discovering how the world's food is truly made, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more from AgriWorks USA. The longhorn's story stretches across continents and centuries. Its earliest roots lie in Africa, where the Ankole breed, with horns like polished ivory spears, was more than livestock. Among tribes, they were currency, dowry, and sacred offering, living banks whose value measured wealth, honor, and survival. In the 16th century, Spanish conquistadors carried cattle across the Atlantic. On the wild frontiers of North America, they adapted into a new icon, the Texas Longhorn. Lean, resilient, and able to survive where others failed, these cattle became the backbone of ranchers and the legends of cattle drives, fueling both settlement and folklore of the American West. Today, the breed thrives in two worlds. Africa remains home to nearly 7.3 million Ankole cattle, concentrated in Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya. The United States manages more than 270,000 Texas Longhorns, preserved as heritage stock, yet increasingly valued for specialty beef and crossbreeding programs. And beyond headcounts, the market speaks louder. Longhorn beef and genetics contribute to an industry worth billions of dollars, spanning auctions, breeding associations, and global trade. From tribal ceremonies to Wall Street figures, the longhorn has evolved into both cultural treasure and economic asset. Across the savannas of East Africa, Ankole longhorn cattle live as much in tradition as in the present. Each dawn, herds emerge from simple roofless enclosures, no concrete feedlots, only wooden stakes and smoke fires lit to smoke fires' lids. Then they spill onto the grasslands, guided by herders who walk barefoot through dew-soaked fields. Unlike industrial systems, African longhorns graze almost entirely on natural forage. Fresh grasses, crop residues, and roughage like banana leaves or millet stems sustain them through the seasons. Water is stored in rain tanks or dugout canals, and when drought strikes, families drive cattle miles to find pasture, turning survival into a communal act. This system is extensive, low input, and deeply woven into culture. Herds often number in dozens or hundreds, yet remain small compared to American ranches. The cattle grow slower, lighter. An adult bull averages 100 pounds, nearly a third less than Angus, but their value transcends meat. They are wealth, dowry, and social status, traded at weddings and honored in ceremonies. Here, the longhorn is not merely livestock, it is heritage on four legs, a living bond between people, land, and survival. Do you think natural grazing is more sustainable than industrial farming? And if you had the chance, would you want to experience the daily life of herders in Uganda? Share your thoughts with me in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next stories from AgriWorks USA. In the vast ranch lands of Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico, longhorn cattle roam across thousands of acres beneath a sky as wide as history itself. Unlike the small-scale herding of East Africa, American ranches are expansive enterprises, fenced yet open, designed to let cattle graze naturally while remaining under careful management. Here, the Longhorn is both heritage and business. By the end of 2022, the U.S. maintained about 273,000 Texas Longhorns, a fraction compared to industrial breeds like Angus, but significant as a cultural and genetic reservoir. Some ranches keep herds purely for conservation, preserving the breed's legendary horns and adaptability. Others balance tradition with profit, selling beef, hides, and live cattle for crossbreeding. The ranch model relies on modern tools, rotational grazing, veterinary monitoring, and sometimes even drones to track wandering animals. Yet its spirit is preservation. The Longhorn, once nearly lost to crossbreeding, is now sustained by ranchers who see value in leaner meat, hardy genetics, and tourism appeal. On these sun-scorched plains, the Longhorn is not just a commodity, it is a living monument to the American frontier, straddling the line between agriculture, conservation, and cultural identity. Beneath their iconic horns lies a biology finely tuned by centuries of survival. Longhorn cattle are remarkable not only for their endurance, but also for the way they reproduce and thrive under minimal human intervention. A heifer typically reaches breeding age around 2 to 3 years old, later than many commercial breeds, reflecting their slower, steadier growth. The gestation lasts about 280–290 days, culminating in a single calf, rarely twins, that can weigh 65–90 pounds at birth. These calves are born strong, able to stand and nurse within hours, a trait honed by generations in harsh landscapes where weakness meant death. Growth is gradual yet steady. In their first 6 months, calves can gain 1 to 2 pounds per day, reaching 450–650 pounds by their first year. While smaller than heavily bred Angus or Holstein, Longhorns compensate with extraordinary hardiness. They resist many diseases, tolerate drought, and maintain fertility under conditions that would challenge other breeds. Each sweeping horn, sometimes stretching over 8 feet tip to tip, is not merely ornament but a survival tool, defense against predators, and a symbol of dominance during mating rituals. Biology, tradition, and resilience converge in every new generation born onto the grasslands. What advantages do you think Longhorn cattle have compared to industrial breeds? Let us know in the comments below. At the slaughterhouse, the journey of the Longhorn shifts from thundering hooves to the hum of steel and precision. Animals arrive after long drives or truck transport, rested in holding pens to reduce stress, a factor proven to improve both meat quality and animal welfare. The process is highly regulated. Each step, from stunning to bleeding, follows strict guidelines designed to ensure humane handling. Once the hide is removed, the massive frames of the Longhorn are split, revealing lean red muscles streaked with just enough marbling to distinguish them from other breeds. Compared with Angus, the carcasses are typically lighter, averaging 500–600 pounds of retail cuts, but prized for their low-fat, natural flavor and dense protein content. Inside modern plants, automation works hand-in-hand with skilled butchers. High-speed saws halve carcasses, while conveyor lines carry primal cuts toward stations where workers trim, portion, and prepare them for packaging. In smaller, heritage-focused facilities, the pace is slower, preserving traditional butchering that highlights the uniqueness of each Longhorn carcass. By the end, what began as a symbol of the open range is transformed into boxed beef, steaks, and ribs bound for restaurants, retailers, and global export markets. From the butcher's block, Longhorn beef enters a marketplace where heritage and economics collide. Unlike Angus or Wagyu, Longhorn is not mass-produced. It occupies a niche but growing segment. In the United States, only around 45,000 head are processed annually, a fraction of the multi-million Angus industry. Yet this scarcity fuels its appeal. Restaurants promote Longhorn steaks as lean, all-natural, and deeply tied to the lore of the American West, often pricing them 20–30% higher than conventional beef. In Africa, particularly Uganda and Rwanda, Ankole Longhorn beef is equally symbolic. Herds are smaller and slaughter numbers higher, about 2.7 million annually. But much of the trade happens in local markets. There, meat is not just food, but also cultural capital, tied to weddings, festivals, and displays of wealth. Beyond meat, Longhorn hides feed into a lucrative leather trade, especially in luxury goods where durability and striking horn motifs command premium value. Horns themselves are carved into crafts or sold as decorative items. In this way, Longhorn cattle generate more than calories. They generate stories, identity, and income streams that stretch from dusty village markets to fine dining tables in New York. Do you believe cultural value strongly influences the price of Longhorn beef? Have you ever tried a dish made from Longhorn meat? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you care about a sustainable agriculture, make sure to like this video and subscribe to AgroWorks USA. Beyond their cultural aura, Longhorns carry an ethical weight. Advocates note that both Texas and ankle herds often live freer than industrial feedlot cattle, roaming vast pastures, feeding on natural grass, and reaching maturity at a slower pace. Such conditions suggest dignity in life before slaughter. Still, the question lingers: can freedom erase the reality of death? In Africa, over 2.7 million ankole longhorns are killed annually, often with minimal welfare oversight. In the US, ranches proudly brand longhorns as heritage icons, yet most still end on conventional processing lines. Critics see a contradiction between romantic storytelling and industrial outcomes. Globally, consumers now weigh labels like grass-fed or humane certified as markers of conscience. For some, tradition justifies the practice. For others, it is not enough. The Longhorn stands at this crossroads, living symbol of resilience, yet subject to humanity's shifting moral compass. The Longhorn's legacy extends beyond pastures to landscapes and livelihoods. In the U.S., vast ranches sprawl across Texas and Oklahoma, where rotational grazing helps prevent soil erosion and supports prairie ecosystems. Their lighter grazing footprint compared to heavier breeds makes Longhorns a surprising ally in land conservation. Yet methane emissions remain unavoidable, feeding debates over cattle's role in climate change. In Africa, ankole herds are more than livestock. They are wealth, dowries, and social status. Over 7 million cattle sustain millions of households, providing milk, meat, and cultural identity. However, overgrazing near villages can degrade land and strain water supplies, raising tensions with conservation areas. For both continents, Longhorns embody a paradox. They fuel economies and nourish traditions, yet also challenge ecosystems under modern pressures. The balance between heritage, livelihood, and sustainability will shape whether these iconic herds thrive or burden the generations ahead. From the dusty plains of Uganda to the sprawling ranches of Texas, Longhorn cattle endure as living monuments of resilience. Their sweeping horns and untamed spirit carry centuries of history, weaving together culture, economy, and identity across continents. Today, they are more than meat or trade. They are symbols of survival, heritage, and pride, admired on pastures, in markets, and even in festivals. But as climate, ethics, and consumer choices evolve, the Longhorn's future rests on how we balance tradition with sustainability. Will this iconic breed remain a cultural treasure and economic asset, or fade under modern pressures? What do you think? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more from AgroWorks USA.